Hey guys, welcome to our solutions video for Selective Prep Mathematics test number 11. So we'll just get started with an overview, which will be on simultaneous equations. So simultaneous equations is when we try and solve two or more equations at the same time, and those equations should have variables in them. So we'll look at an example later on to make things clearer, but basically when we use elimination, we try and eliminate one of the letters in each of the equations, okay, by subtracting or adding those two equations together. Okay, substitution is when we try and find the value of one letter in terms of the other letter in one of the equations, and then we substitute that value into the other equation. So let's take a look at an example to clarify things. So if I want to use elimination, then I want to make the same term in both of the equations and then cancel them out. So by term, I don't just mean the letter, I mean the number in front of the letter as well. So if I have 3a here, I would have needed 3a in the other equation to cancel it out. So what I'm going to try and do is make 3a in the other equation, this first equation. So what do? I multiply both sides by 3. That should give me 3a plus 6b equals 30. Now I'll write the second equation under it, and then I'll subtract them. So 3a minus 3 equals 0, 6b minus 5b equals b, and then 30 minus 32 equals minus 2. So b equals minus 2. If I substitute this value of b back into this first equation, okay, you'll get a equals, so a minus 4 equals 10, so a equals 14. Now, if I want to try substitution, okay, let's take this equation, for example. So we only need one equation at the start, and then we'll solve both of them a bit later. So I'm going to move this 2b over, so a equals 10 minus 2b. Right? So I found a in terms of b, one letter in terms of the other. Now I'm going to substitute this value of a into this part of the equation. So 3, and instead of a, I'm going to write 10 minus 2b, because they're the same thing. I found out they're the same thing. Plus 5b equals 32. Expand it. So 30 minus 6b plus 5b equals 32. So 30 minus b equals 32. Move this over here, move this over here. b equals minus 2. Okay, a is going to be the same thing then. Now let's get started. So find the value of angle E. So A is equal to D. So this is going to be 70 degrees as well. Now angles on a straight line, okay, the straight line here equal 180. So this plus 70 should be 180, which means that E has to be 110 degrees. Now, question 2. A flight leaves Hong Kong at 17 o'clock and lands in Hobart at 19:45. If the time in Hobart's 5.5 hours behind Hong Kong time, how long was the flight? So, what we need to do is change one of them into the local time of the other. So let's change Hong Kong. So let's say they left at 17 Hong Kong time, but that would be 5.5 hours ahead of Hobart. So let's subtract 5.5. Let's go back 5.5 hours. So that's 12, 11, 30. Now 11:30 to 9:45 is going to be 8 hours and 15 minutes. Now 1/5 of Mrs. Harrison's class of girls, 1/16 of the boys have green eyes. If there are 160 students, how many boys do not have green eyes? So 1/5 is going to be 20%. Okay, so 160 divided by 5 is 3, 1, and then 2. So 32 is 1/5. So 160 minus 32 equals 128. So that is 4/5. So these are all the boys, 128 boys in the class. 128 boys. 1/16 of the boys have green eyes. So what's 1/16 of 128? So 16 goes into 128 8 times. So 1/16 equals 8. So 8 boys have green eyes, which means that, so if 8 out of 128 have green eyes, that means the other 120 do not. So 120 boys do not have green eyes. Now, in a game show, you have 20 cards. You pick out 2 cards, but you don't actually see what both of those cards are. So you basically pick out one of those 2 cards, which means that in the end, okay, they've made it sound like you pick out 2 cards, all right, but in the end, you're only picking out 1 card. So what's the probability that the contestant picks the card correctly? So you have a 1 in 20 chance of choosing that card correctly, okay? So 1 in 20, if you make that into a fraction, okay, a percentage, sorry. Or let's make this out of 100 first. So times top and bottom by 5. So it's going to be 5 out of 100, which is just going to be 5%. Okay. So Monica practices her saxophone for 0.75 hours in the morning, 1.5 in the afternoon. So that's 2.25 hours a day. Sorry, that should be 5 hours a day. She practices 4 times a week. So that's 9 hours a week. How many hours does she practice in half a year? So in 1 year, there's 52 weeks per year, so 26 weeks. So over 26 weeks, how many hours does she practice? So 26 times 9, 6 times 9 is 54, carry the 5 over, 2 times 9 is 18, so 234 hours in half a year. Question 6, to park your car outside of a large fruit and vegetable store, you have to pay a parking fee of $3 for 3 hours, for the first 3 hours. And then every 20 minutes over that, you have to pay an extra $1.50. So Daniel parks his car from 12:40 to 4:35. So the first 3 hours would have let him park for $3 till 3:40. And then 4:35 is plus 20, and then plus 15. Okay, so he needed to pay 150 here, 150 here, 150 here. Okay, so any time over the 20 minutes you pay for, you need to pay another $1.50. And then when you pay your $1.50, you get another 20 minutes. It's not at the end of 20 minutes you pay your 150. It's you pay your 150, then you get an extra 20 minutes. Okay, so even though he only stayed for 15 minutes, at the end, 15 minutes extra, he needed to pay that 150. So altogether, this is $4.50, and then his extra $3 at the start would have mean he paid $7.50. All right, cylindrical cans of asparagus spears. We don't really need to know what's in the cans. Have a height of 16 centimeters and a diameter of 7 centimeters. So if they're placed in a carton of length 182, so 182, width 98, and height 96. Okay, let's just draw out this box first. Sorry, it's going into the question a bit. Anyhow, so the height is 96. Width 98, and then length 182. So how many times does a diameter of 7 fit into 182? Okay, so how many cans can we stack along the side? So 182 divided by 7 is 26. So 26 cans can go along the length. 98 divided by 7 is 1, carry the 2 over, 4. So 14 cans can go across the side. And then how many can fit? How many can we stack on top of each other? So 96 divided by 16, that's just 6. So we can fit 6 upwards. So it's going to be 26 times 6 times 14. So what's 6 times 14? That is 84 times 26. Okay, would have been 2184. Okay, I won't do the maths because it's a bit time consuming. If you want to try it on your own, go for it. You can confirm with the calculator. So, banana has exactly 850 calories. A rich chocolate pudding has 3 3/4 times that. So how many calories does a bowl of chocolate pudding have? So what's 850 times 3? So it's 0, 5, carry the 1 over, 25. And then we also need to do the times 3/4. So 850 divided by 4 is 2, 1, and then 2.5. So that was a 1 getting carried over, which is why we get 2.5. And then times that by 3. So this is 1/4. Times that by 3, you should get 617.5. Okay. So this is 3/4 equals this. So 3/4 equals 617.5. Add them together. You get 0.5, 7, 6, 1. And then you carry the 1 over, 3167.5. Sorry, I think something's not quite right there. Oh, sorry, that should be 3. So this should be 3, and so this should be 8. So 637.5. So we've done 212.5 times 3 to get to this. So 637.5, 3187.5, closest to 3188. So volume, so basically you just need to find the area of the triangle and then multiply it by the length. So that's 16 times 19 times half is the area. So 8 times 19, and then the volume should be 8 times 19 times 13. Okay, so that will give you E. So let's try and do this together. So 13 times 8 is what? Actually, let's do 19 times 13 first. So 3 times 9 is 7, 2, 3 times 1, 5, 3 times 1, 3, times plus 2 is 5, 1 times 9 is 9, and then 1, 7, 4, 2. 2, 4, 7 times 8. 7 times 8 is 6, 56. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 5 is 37, and then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. So 1976 should give you E. Alright, an acting theatre for Shakespearean plays seats 2,398 people in 4 different theatres. So theatre 2 has twice as many as theatre 1, so T2 equals 2 times 2, 1. Theatre 3 has 1/3, so T3 equals 1/3 of T1, and then T4 has 4 times, so 4 times T1. Now altogether, then it should be, so T1 plus T2, which is the same as 2 times T1, plus T3, which is the same as 1/3 T1, plus T4, which is the same as 4 T1, equals 2,398 people. Okay, so add these all up, you get 7 and 1/3 T1 equals 2,398. Let's make this a improper fraction. So make this all into 1. So 22 over 3 T1 equals 2,398. Okay, so if I carry this over, if I carry this fraction over, it's going to flip. So it's going to become 2,398 times 3 over 22. So let's divide by 22 first. So 2,398 goes into 2 0 times, goes into 23, goes into that 1 time, carries 1 over, goes into 19 0 times, so 198, it goes in, 22 goes into 198 9 times. Okay, so 109, so T1 equals 109 times 3, because we've only divided by the 22 so far, which equals 327. So how many seats are in theatre 3? So theatre 3 is a third of T1. The third of T1. So divide 327 by 3. We just get 109. Okay, so it's part B. So good job. So the key points from this test were just the simultaneous equations. You either use elimination or substitution to find what the unknowns are. Okay, so other than that, there is no other key points. That brings us to the end of this solutions video. Good job, guys. I will see you in the next solutions videos.